Hi, this is Kevin from Rebuilders.net. Today we're going to talk about how you can change your life in an instant. And I kid you not, this is probably one of the most powerful videos I'm so excited to talk about it. This is going to be something that is truly eye-opening for some people on how this all works. So let's start with just talking about the idea of when you're a kid, when you're young, when you're born, you are this blob, right? You're completely 100% dependent on others for your needs. And for a while, you're just your body's trying to grow, you're trying to just get food, nutrition, and figure out life. And you're in this very nurturing, supportive environment. Typically, people know that you can't do anything for yourself. Then at some point, what happens is you get to this, you start getting a little bit older and you start being able to think for yourself. And for most kids, somewhere between 4 and 6 years old, you have this moment where you start to realize that you are not just a blob moving through the world that's in this perfectly supportive environment. You are actually independent of those other people in some way. So, and in this moment, what you decide for some reason is, I'm not okay. So for me, for example, what happened was I remember I had my brother and my mom were down in the kitchen, and I came down our stairs and I turned the corner and they were both laughing and smiling, and they turned and looked at me, and they had this look and their smiles faded, and they kind of looked at me like, ugh, here he comes. And I remember in that moment of realizing that, they don't like me. Because, frankly, as a kid, I was a pain in the butt. Like, a big pain in the butt. If I could push people's buttons, I would. So in that moment, I realized they don't like me. So what I did was I decided I need to be a person that people like. Like, if I'm going to get through this life, I've got to be a really good person. I've got to be likable. So what did I decide? I decided that I needed to be smart. I needed to be hardworking. I needed to be a good person. I needed to be athletic. I needed to do everything I possibly could to get people to like me. So this moment changed my life. It made me a person that's always trying to please others, until I realized this. Now, turning this back towards you. So everybody has this kind of moment in time where when we're very young, something that we say about ourselves. It's something that we say, I'm not smart enough, I'm not strong enough, I'm not attractive, I'm dumb, I'm just not a likable person. There's lots and lots of things that we say about ourselves. And then what happens is we believe them. So in this moment, what happened was this is the first time you created what I would call your identity. You made up something about yourself and said, this is who I am. And then you spent the rest of your life trying to compensate for that, trying to create ways to show people you're not dumb. You are attractive, you are whatever, but there's something that you did to try and make up for that. Now here's the second part. Once you created this time in your life where you created an identity for yourself, now what happens is, like I did, you start to create behaviors around your life to make yourself, to compensate for this. So, if you're dumb, like I have friends who said, I thought I was dumb. So what did they do? They went and got their PhD when they were in college, right? They wanted to prove to themselves and to others, I'm not dumb. I needed proof to do that. But we do these things throughout our lives trying to make up for this. And sometimes people spend their entire life trying to do this. And the way this comes about is that we do something where, let's say, you go to a party and you show up and there's no one to talk to you. And your first thought to yourself is, see, they know I'm dumb and so they don't want to talk to me. You just gave yourself proof that for your identity. Like, this is what happens. right? Of course, nobody wants to talk to you. Of course, there's nobody that wants to go on a date with me. Or, of course, I got divorced because, this is the kind of person I am. So our lives reinforce what we said about ourselves, our identity. And this is then the next part to this, is that what happens for us is we learn to believe this about ourselves. We learn to believe that this is absolutely true. That this is the thing that we know. And beliefs, the definition of beliefs that I like to use is, beliefs are something that we say to ourselves over and over and over again. That's it. They aren't necessarily true. It's just something that we say over and over and over again. And therefore, it seems like the truth. Why? Because we have lots of proof for it. We have lots of, it's been so true. So think back to when you made this choice when you were young. You didn't have all of the mental thoughts that could say, hey, I am truly, this is absolutely true. I am a person that is dumb. I am unattractive. I am unlovable. I am whatever you said to yourself. You had no ability to change that or say it any differently. And yet you spend your life trying to prove either that it's true or that it's not true. These are all some things that I wanted to talk about, but this is part one of a two-part video series. I've got a lot more that I want to talk about here, but if you want to get part two, then there's one of two things that you need to do. So the first one is join our Facebook group, and you can do that if you go to Facebook, look up groups, and search for Divorce from Survive to Thrive. The other thing you can do is type in the actual URL, and I'll put that in the notes below. But that is www.facebook.com/groups/rebuildersintl. Put that in, and then you can get to the Facebook group. Now, if you're not a Facebook user, the other option is to send an email to support@rebuilders.net and ask for the part two of the video. I look forward to seeing you in part two.